can burst a small army. When I see them Brock Luba, there ain't no cum left in me. Yeah! Welcome everyone to another Dynamite review. And tonight's Dynamite was super packed, even though on paper it didn't look so. So let's get right into it. We start out the show with an MJF promo, and there's already some dissension with Wardlow, something they've been teasing for 1.5 years at this point, it feels like. And MJF is chewing on an apple, Carlito style. He's stealing another gimmick from another legend. It seems fine, he does it well enough, so I don't really mind. And it does lead into the main event of the show, and he says,
Wardlow has to put Jericho down,
or there will be consequences, implied consequences. We start the show proper with a trios match, and this was a bloody wonderful match. Dante Martin, take a bow. What a high flyer. The pop for this guy was enormous. He was flying all over the place, taking on Nick and Matt Jackson and Kenny Omega. Matt and Mike Sydal were also there, and they were great as well. But Dante stole the show, absolutely jumped off of every single surface he could find, off the top rope, off of other people. He did this beautiful Hurricane Rana that's become a GIF on Twitter like 3 seconds after he did it. It was wonderful. He really should have pinned one of the Bucks to win the match for his team, but sadly the Elite went over, and I think that was not the right decision. This could have been Dante's star-making moment, guys. I don't know why he didn't pin one of the Bucks. This should have happened. Dante got pinned by Kenny with a one-winged angel and a BTV trigger, which means all three of the members hit him with a knee at the same time. Again, it's a fine way to put him over, but he should have won. Callis comes to the ring after the match finishes as usual, and he's dunking on the crowd, and Christian Cage comes out and everyone pops, and Callis is like, what are you doing here, Stanford Stooge? He makes a point to address how many numbers he has on his side, and there's only one of Christian. And then there's this running gag throughout this first portion of Dynamite where Callis can't count worth the shit. So he says there's like 10 people there. There's not. But Christian came with backup, and he has Jurassic Express coming to him, who also get a huge pop. After that, an ad break happens, which could have been a bit better timed. What are they doing there? These two extremely antagonistic teams are just standing there in front of each other till the ad finishes. It doesn't, I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about it. Callis talks and mentions All Out in Chicago, which gets a huge CM Punk chant going. You can't hear him throughout the promo for the next 30 seconds because of the CM Punk chant. There's also a bit of yes chants going. Hopefully we'll see both of those guys in AEW soon, but right now is not the time. Earlier in the night, it was already announced that Kenny Omega and Christian Cage will be going one-on-one against each other at All Out for the AEW title, something not many people, including me, are very happy about. I think it's Hangman's time to get the title, but fine, I guess. None of my business. Christian also makes the announcement that he will be taking Kenny on for his Impact title as well, and that will happen this Rampage, the first episode of Rampage. Another huge announcement from Jungle Boy, who talked to Tony, and they will be taking on the Young Bucks at the next Dynamite in Houston for the tag titles. And I hope to God the Bucks lose. Their act has gotten old. It's stale now. They need to change a little bit, and I think it's good for the tag division to have a fresh pair of baby faces getting the belts. They can even drop it to FTR really soon after that. It wouldn't really matter that much, but it's
time for the Bucks to drop the belts.
Up next is a Malachi promo. He talks about my society. It was a good enough promo. I'm just dunking on him for saying society. Of course I would. Society. But the point is, it was a good enough promo, so I don't really mind. He talks about how he was truthful, that he said he was going to take out Cody Rhodes with quickness and efficiency and whatnot, and he did exactly that. He took him out fast and violently, but nobody likes him. That's false. We like you, Malachi. I love ya. To me, he's the babyface in this angle, and Cody's the heel, because I don't like Cody's American bullshit. I'll be completely honest with you. Great promo, 8 out of 10 promo, really liked it. And I really hope we see a heel evangelical Christian Miro taking on a face satanic Malachi. That would be the shit. Up next, Miro cuts a promo confirming Fuego del Sol on Rampage this week, taking him on for the title, and if he wins, he gets a contract, which means Fuego's not winning. R.I.P. Fuego, he just came back from the dead, but he's gonna go back there very soon. Miro's gonna absolutely butcher him. Fuego always makes his opponents look great, so he's going to do the same thing here, I'm sure. And he's very over, so Miro killing him will make him an even more dastardly heel. So I'm okay with this match. Next up is Darby Allin taking on Daniel Garcia. Daniel says that if it weren't for Mox and Eddie Kingston, he could have beaten Darby. Sure, kid, you've been here for 2 days. Darby's a main event stay. You're not beating him anytime soon, but okay. So they have a singles match with Daniel Garcia having 2.0 at ringside, where Darby, as usual, has Sting. 2.0 are brilliant as battering jobbers, and I hope they get a job in AEW doing exactly that, because it was a huge loss for NXT when they let Everrise go. They're genuinely very funny, they have comedic timing, and they make me pop. Every time they're on screen, they make me pop doing one thing or the other. Darby beats Daniel Garcia, but not before Daniel Garcia gets some real punishment in, but he slaps Darby one time, and Darby gets this look in his eyes like he's looking at one of his ex-girlfriends, and starts wailing on him, hits him with a coffin drop, pins and wins. 2.0 afterwards try to beat him up, but Sting comes to the rescue and both of them take them out like garbage. Which, fair, that's the job. Darby looks strong, Sting gets some action in, crowd pops, good match, moving on. Next up is the Best Friends taking on the Hardy Family Office, and my question is Hardy's come all lean? I joke. I want to congratulate Matt Hardy for having his 5th baby on the way. Oh my god! 5 kids. I've written a small haiku for this exact occasion. Oh yeah! Woo! I can breathe a Latina. I can birth a small army. When I see them brown blue bar, there ain't no cum left in me. Yeah! As I was saying, no musical talent whatsoever, so apologies. There's this amazing spot where Orange Cassidy starts the match with taking Matt's hand and putting it in his own pocket, which is a metaphor for how Matt Hardy in kayfabe has his hand in every one of his employees' pockets, taking 30% of cuts from everything. Whatever, doesn't matter. And then there's this amazing spot where Orange Cassidy just flops onto Matt Hardy as a parody of Matt Hardy's leg drop from the middle rope. He does it from the bottom rope and just kind of falls on him. It's not even a one count, because okay, why would it be? Isaiah Cassidy's tagged in, who screeches like a little girl. He does that very well. When Orange Cassidy's about to hit him with a Superman punch, but it's a fake out, he just uses his brutal super kicks on Isaiah. That's a fake out as well. Wheeler Yuta's been tagged in, who comes in with a massive senton and hits Isaiah Cassidy with it. There's an altercation between the Bunny and Chris Statlander at ringside, and Nyla Rose comes in and bulldozes Chris Statlander. That will have absolutely no effect in their match for reasons, but okay. Orange Cassidy also gets beat up on by Jack Evans. Hey, Jack Evans, he's still around. Where the hell have you been? And Helico's been going solo for these weeks. I thought he would let go. Private Party hit Yuta with gin and juice, but he kicks out, which I don't agree with. Private Party have not been very well protected throughout this year, but I would be hoping to see Yuta, who's been practically a jobber and very new to Dynamite, at least take the pin from them.
From their freaking finisher.
But Yuta goes over here, not for long. He does get pinned by Matt Hardy with a twist of fate, which is fine and all, but if the gin and juice hits, Private Party should be winning it. You have to protect them a little bit more. Remember when Private Party were beating Young Bucks? Yeah, I do. Good times. Hardy pins Yuta, and that's that for the match. Next up is an Andrade promo, and it's basically him confirming that him and Pac will go up against each other at All Out, which could be a sleeper hit of the show. In my headcanon, it's for the custody of the Lucha Bros, but you know, who cares about me? Then there's this promo of Santana and Ortiz, and they talk about how they nearly ripped Cash's arm in half, which is, still a gnarly looking spot. It looked nasty when the hook caught his arm. I have no idea how he lived after that. Genuinely, I would have screamed in pain. It's a good little short promo to promote and one more match between them and FTR, and I'm genuinely ready for this program to just end on. Next up is Nyla Rose versus Chris Statlander, and Rose comes into the ring with Vicky Guerrero, where Statlander, who's still selling her injury from earlier in the night, who comes in with the best friends in Orange Cassidy, who are all selling their injuries. But Statlander gets into the ring with Orange Cassidy in tow and gets demolished by Nyla first up. She tries to put up a fight, but Nyla dominates in the early parts of this match. A bit later, Statlander hits her with this beautiful looking pendulum moonsault, which I popped for. And then there's something that I popped in a bad way for. Vicky screamed into Orange Cassidy's ears, and I could feel it. I can still feel my ears ringing from just hearing that. I don't know how poor Orange handled that. My God, Jesus Christ, that was hard to hear. Statlander is put on the ropes for Nyla's knee drop maneuver, but she moves out, innovatively using her handstand, but Nyla just railroads her with a massive spear. I popped for that too. Afterwards, Statlander tries to put Nyla out with a powerbomb and finishes her off with the Area 451, her 450 splash finisher, and wins. This match went on for 4, maybe 5 minutes. I thought this should have been a longer match. Frankly, Statlander getting attacked by Nyla meant that either Nyla was going over or this was going to be a long, brutal match where Statlander barely escapes with the win. This didn't feel like either. And if this was going to be a short match, there was no need to have Nyla Rose attack Statlander earlier in the night. I don't know what was going on. Tony, I know you booked 2 different women's segments in the same night, so it can be a little difficult for you, but do better. This was not great. Could be a lot better. I love Statlander, and Nyla's got her own strengths, but this could have been so much better than this. There's a Young Bucks promo right afterwards, and the Jurassic Express butt in before they can do their signature dunking, and Luchasaurus stands there menacingly while Jungle Boy Jack goes in for the dunk and does it successfully. The Bucks are pissed off, they're like, foul! Cutler's like, no, that was all ball, and they scream, Cutler, no! Great promo, I liked it, good enough, moving. Next up was a Red Velvet promo, and I don't know what to tell you guys. I do not care for Red Velvet. I have not been made to care by the AEW management at all. I don't watch Dark or Dark Elevation. I know she's been racking up a lot of wins over jobbers there, but I don't care about either of those shows. And on Dynamite, she's been booked as this massive jobber, which also plays into the storyline. Britt doesn't care about her either, and yeah, why should she? She's a champion. She's beaten her before. She's beaten most of the division. What does she have to fear from Red Velvet? Nothing. Yeah, she has a few strings of wins. Yeah, she'll probably look fairly strong going up against Britt in Britsburg. Coming to that later. But there's no reason for me to feel excited about this match. This is just a filler match. I know for a fact that Britt's going over unless a horrible booking decision occurs. And putting the belt on Red Velvet is a horrible booking decision right now. Maybe she can be built up to be a proper contender with time. But she has not had that time put into her. There's no care in her character, and I do not care about her whatsoever. Not in the same way I care about Britt Baker. Next up is a Britt promo, and holy shit, the ovation for her is nuts. Everyone in Britsburg, #Britsburg, loves DMD. They were chanting DMD so hard I could barely hear Tony Schiavone talk. Britt comes in, doesn't try to heal it up because she's super over as a babyface in Pittsburgh, and it shows. Everyone's twirling their yellow towels around, and Britt does it with them, and it's amazing to watch. Like, I was getting Daniel Bryan 2013-14 vibes with the yes movement and everything. It was amazing. As I was saying previously, Red Velvet is going to have a hard time in this match. She's not going to be cheered as a babyface. In fact, when she comes in to beat up Britt Baker after her promo, she gets booed hard. As she should. This is the hometown crowd. Nobody cares about Red Velvet. I'm guessing not even her own hometown. And Britt is massively over as a babyface here. There's no reason for Red Velvet to be booked as a face against Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. There's no reason for that. Yeah, I'm happy that they finally are using Britt Baker, who is supposed to be a heel, in a program against a face. But this program should have come earlier when they were doing the Nyla Britt thing, and it was a weird mess of events where the heel was going up against another heel, and it didn't make any sense. I didn't know who to cheer for. I really didn't. That could have happened here because Britt is super over as a babyface in Pittsburgh, and it would have made all the sense in the world for Nyla to challenge her here and be a massive, monstrous heel who wants to take her out, break her arm, doesn't succeed in it, and Britt can go over as a babyface. But here, Red Velvet is just about to get butchered, y'all. I feel bad for her. Next up is another Starks and Brian Cage promo, and it's short, sweet, and to the point. The two talk about how they want to kill each other. Well, at least Brian Cage does. Starks is like, oh, we're two ships passing apart, never touching. And Cage is like, yeah, that's because you keep running away. It's true, he does keep running away. And it's a pretty well edited promo package. And Hook does this thing, the Brian Cage taunt, which is pretty funny, and Taz laughs for it, which, okay, yeah, understandable. I laughed at her too, it was funny. But yeah, I want to see this match happen again. I want to see the rematch. I want to see Brian Cage try to destroy Ricky Starks, and Ricky Starks still going over. Because Starks' ceiling is way higher than Brian Cage, and that's all due respect to Brian Cage. He looks like an absolute monster, but he's not the most charismatic man on the roster, is he? No, that's probably Ricky Starks, and if not, he's at least in the top 4. So yeah, he's gonna go over. Next up is the Impact Tag Titles, and this time the Good Brothers are taking on Darkhorse, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson, who get a massive ovation from the Pittsburgh crowd. People love Dark Order all over the place. They've been massive faces since Roddy Lee's passing last year, and they have not dropped that at all, even throughout this year, no matter how many matches they've. Hey, Scott D'Amore is here to call the action. Good to see some Impact people other than Don fucking Callis be on the show. Cutler comes out with the Good Brothers and tries to do a distraction spot, but Colt Cabana punches him in the face, which hurts Cabana because face covering. But Frankie Kazarian comes down, drags Cutler away by the neck. It was a great visual. Stu and Uno, as I was saying, are super over for the crowd, and the moves they do are crisp. Uno is a big guy. Like, I think I'm fat, but Uno is even bigger. And that's not a detriment, considering how athletic and fast he is in the ring. That's amazing. I'm not even mad. And Stu, as usual, is one of the best workers in the rosters. And the two work together so well. All of their spots are crisp, and they look good, botch-free, and wonderful. Sadly, the Dark Order doesn't go over today. Luke Gallows does this distraction spot, and then hit them with the Magic Killer, and 1, 2, 3, that's it. There was no real reception for the Good Brothers winning here. No boos, no cheers. Nobody really cares about them on AEW. I don't know if that's different on Impact. I don't watch enough Impact to know. But nobody really cares about them on AEW. And I think it's starting to hurt the tag division here to lose to the Impact boys. Again, nothing against Impact. I love Impact. I've been a TNA fanboy since 04-05. But the Good Brothers are just not doing it for the crowd. At least on the AEW show. I think it's time to remove them from the equation. Conversely, Stu and Uno were super over, and I think they should be given the straps at one point. Very soon. There's a Camille promo where she introduces herself to the AEW audience. I'm sure they know exactly who you are after that picture. She says that she's the brick house. Yeah, brick shit house. She says that she's basically going to beat Layla Hirsch, which is, yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. If anyone was going to beat Camille for the NW title, it would be either Jade or Thunder Rosa. Layla Hirsch wouldn't have won the #1 contendership match. She's clearly just over there for exposure and to put Camille over, which is fine by me. Fine enough promo. Next up is QT's Factory giving a promo with Tony Schiavone right there with them. Now, there's been this 3-4 week build to QT giving an apology to Tony, and Tony's been expecting an apology for a while, but QT says that they've all had it wrong. It's QT who should be apologized to because Tony was rude to him. Okay, fine, heelish behavior, understandable. Tony expectedly does not want to apologize to QT. So QT gets Nick Comoroto to drag Tony's kid and punches him in the stomach. At which point Tony apologizes and QT, again very heelishly, refuses the apology, hits him with a cutter. Tony's kid, not Tony. This brings out the savior of the Schiavone family. It's Big Show! Paul White getting physical for the first time on AEW television. He comes in, QT throws Aaron Solo in the line of fire and runs away with Nick Comoroto. And Big Show, Paul White, chokeslams him and just looks QT dead in the eye. You hurt my friend. I'm gonna kill you. Apologies for the accent, but that's what it felt like what he was trying to convey with his eyes. It was an alright spot. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Paul White on the AEW. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Paul White in the AEW ring, and I want to see him beat the crap out of QT because that would probably be very fun to watch. And QT's not a very high level heel, so it wouldn't really hurt anyone. It's main event time, and Jericho and Wardlow are going to do their fifth labor. Wardlow comes out with MJF, who's all smiles. He knows Wardlow's gonna tear Jericho apart. Jericho is coming out with the Judas, and then everyone sings for him, and it's very wonderful. As usual, people love singing Judas. I love singing Judas. I literally listen to it. Like, I'm shooting from the hip here, brother. I listen to it quite a bit. Jericho hits Wardlow immediately with a codebreaker and completely no-sells the codebreaker. Wardlow just gets up smiling, and MJF just cannot stop smiling. He's like, hey, that's my boy. That's my boy. He literally cannot stop smiling. JR says Jericho beat the dead man with that maneuver, and JR, I don't know which company we were still working for, but I'm pretty sure it ain't Vince's. Please stop making WWE references. It's really cringy sometimes. It feels like you genuinely don't know which company you're working for. As usual. Wardlow dominates the early going, hits Jericho with multiple powerbombs. On the second one, he actually breaks Jericho's belt. That's how hard he did it. And he still kind of takes Jericho up and hits him with the powerbomb, tosses him around. I don't know how he does it without taking his pants off, but very skillful maneuvering from a very strong man. Jericho is about to be hit, and Jericho counters it wonderfully into a wall of Jericho, at which point MJF intervenes, rakes Jericho in the eye, making sure Jericho has to let go. Afterward, MJF tries to slip in the diamond ring to Wardlow, but Wardlow can't get to it, and Aubrey intercepts it and sends MJF right out. This makes Wardlow and MJF argue with Aubrey for a little bit before Jericho grabs Floyd, the bat, and whacks Wardlow with it in the head, which sets him up perfectly for a Judas effect. 1, 2, 3, Jericho has beaten the final labor, and he will be taking on MJF next week on Dynamite. MJF is of course pissed, so he sends in Shawn Spears, who beats up Jericho. Sammy comes in to save Jericho. Wardlow tries to butt in, so Hager comes in to save Sammy, and the Pinnacle run away. MJF announces next week for their match, the Judas effect is banned alongside the song Judas. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. MJF's probably thinking, hey, there's no way he will be able to get the support from the crowd if they can't sing his song. And the crowd is probably just thinking, how loud can we sing Jericho's song? Because everyone knows the song by heart at this point. So he's just making sure that he sets up for failure, which is fine. That's what the heel is supposed to do. He's supposed to make some big break play, which just backfires on him. And it will next week. Just wait for everyone to do nothing but sing Jericho's song throughout the damn entrance. That's going to happen. I shit you not, that is 100% going to happen. Bet on it. Anyways, that's it for Dynamite this week. My rating for it is 3 out of 5, which is the same rating as last week, but it was still, I believe, a bit of a weaker show overall. The reason why this rating gets 3 and the last week's rating gets 3 is because last week was more consistent throughout the board with a really great main event. This week, the main event I thought was a little weaker, but the opening match was absolutely bonkers, which really, with a stronger show, this could have been a 4 or even a 5. But sadly, the main event lets it down. The middle of it is also not the best. And please remember that I am rating it on a scale that Dynamite should be rated at. If I rated it at the same scale as, say, WWE Raw, it would get 5 every time and there would be no differentiation. Believe me, Dynamite has been a 4 or 5 out of 5 show for 3-4 weeks now. So these 2 weeks being 3, it's not a bad thing. It's clear that they're in a holding pattern till All Out where things will change again. So they cannot really change too much up. They're really following those storylines. And this week, not many storylines get built, aside from Christian and Jurassic Express getting the title shots. And of course, the labors of Jericho, which is great. But at the end of the day, this wasn't the strongest Dynamite show. But at the same time, it was not a bad show either. It was very watchable, and I loved watching Dante Martin. I loved watching OC, and I loved Britt Baker getting that hometown reception. But still, it's a 3 out of 5 show for me. Anyways, let me know how you feel about the show in the comments below. Like and sub to the channel. That really helps me out and motivates me to make more episodes of this, and motivates me to make more reviews. And Rampage reviews coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And as always, Navid Imtiaz signing out.